What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to Omni Garage. So for those of you who follow the channel quite closely, you'd notice that in the last couple of weeks we did an oil change on the 2007 Subaru WRX, and we put the Fumoto Oil Drain plug on. All went well, no leaks, and I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. But the big issue we really have is when I took the old oil filter off, I just left it sort of cup up like that, and it was sitting on the bottle of the old oil. But what happened is overnight that oil filter fell off, tipped upside down, and leaked oil here all through my tools, all through my boxes of spare parts and stuff like that. And this oil has sat on the concrete pad here for a week now, and now I'm struggling to get rid of it. So I did try some Meguiar's Super Degreaser to see if I could scrub a little bit of that off, and I started on this little patch here, and it sort of reduced the stain a little bit. Didn't make it as noticeable, but it definitely hasn't got rid of it. So I've just shot down to Super Cheap Auto, and I've got some CRC Oil Eater. Let's see if this is going to remove some of the oil stains on here and hopefully clean it up. So we'll spray it on and we'll get into it. Alright, so the first step of using this Oil Eater stuff is it says to mop up all the loose oil. So we've wiped that all off. There's no sort of loose oil sitting on there. It says that this stuff isn't suitable for sealed concrete, so if you had that nice polished concrete, I'd recommend not to use this. And then it says shake well, hold upside down, spray on the area, and then let it sit for 1 to 2 hours. So we'll spray it, we'll let it sit, and we'll show you the results when that's all done. Alright, so already I can see that, I'm not sure if you'll be able to pick this up on the camera, but I can see that a little bit of the oil has already come to the surface, so that's a good sign, it's a good start. So we'll let that sit for 1 to 2 hours and we'll come back and see the results. Okay, so on the back of the packet of the CRC Oil Eater, it said that once you've sprayed it onto your concrete, let it sit for 1 to 2 hours. But what's happened is we experienced a bit of a problem after we sprayed that. We waited 1 to 2 hours, and the oil and the product that you spray on is meant to sort of dry, and it's meant to turn into this white sort of powdery look. Came to the 2 hour mark and that hadn't happened, so we let it sit overnight, and what we've seen now is we've seen that it's formed this nice white powdered look there. A couple of reasons why this probably happened. First reason is I probably might have sprayed too much of the product onto the concrete, so therefore it took longer to produce this powdered look. Or yesterday was quite humid, we had lots of bad weather, lots of rain and stuff like that, so that might have had an impact on its ability to dry. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a wire brush, I'm going to scrape the surface, and hopefully that turns it into a nice white powder, and then I'm going to vacuum up with a vacuum cleaner, and we'll see how much oil's taken out. And you can see there, we can see the white around the outside, but you can see how it's sort of yellow in the middle, and hopefully that's the oil, and hopefully what's happened is that's managed to pull it out of the concrete. So we're going to see if it's actually done what it says it's meant to do. So I've got the wire brush, and I'm going to hopefully turn this into a powder. So just scraping the surface of that will turn this into a powder, which hopefully we'll be able to vacuum up. When I sprayed this yesterday afternoon, it sort of left a degreasing kind of smell in the garage, mixed with a bit of a citrus lemony smell. I definitely recommend, even now with the dust, that this is well ventilated. So make sure your garage doors are open, make sure your doors are open, because it can stink, and you want to make sure that you're not doing yourself any harm. So make sure it's well ventilated in here. But using this wire brush, this is coming off really easy, and hopefully this makes it easier to vacuum up. And this is producing quite a lot of dust, which is not pleasant stuff to be breathing in. So now we've turned this into a powder, and we'll vacuum it up with the Ryobi 18 volt. just going to keep vacuuming it and mind the dust. Right. This stuff is pretty easy to vacuum up, but I'm not sure that you should be using one of these because it just dusts up. I don't know why it's dusting up. Smoke machine. Alright, so I pretty much sucked it all up. What I'd recommend that if you're doing this, make sure your area is well ventilated and probably put a mask on. Otherwise, alternatively, what you could do is sweep it away, which is probably not a bad idea either. Okay, so you can see the concrete that didn't have any oil on it, and this is the concrete that did have oil on it, and you can see that's where I've vacuumed all that powder up. I think it's removed some of it. I'm going to go through with a wet cloth now and just wipe that rest of that powder off, and we'll be able to see what the finished product looks like. Okay, so the issue we had with the Ryobi vacuum cleaner was the dust particles were just too fine and there was just too much of it, and it overloaded the filter, and that's what's caused it to spew out over the sides. So if I was to do this again, I would just sweep it up, put it into a bag and remove it, and then get your wet cloth and wipe it. Probably not vacuum it. I think it's just too much for the filters. Alright, so this is the finished product, and what you can see is these white patches here is probably cleaner concrete than what we started with. So when you compare the white to here, this stuff is clean, this stuff isn't. So I think eventually over time what will happen is this will just merge in and it will just all eventually look the same. What you can see here is at the back there's a few darker spots here, and this is where the oil eater hasn't pulled that oil out. So if you wanted to get probably 100% of that oil out, you'd probably want to spray that and do it again. But I think 95% compared to what we started with, I think is a pretty good start. So I would highly recommend the CRC Oil Eater to remove the oil stains from your driveway or from your garage floor, and that's a product that I'd definitely buy again. If you guys have got any other options that I could have used to remove the oil stains, please put a comment below and we'll happy check it out. That's it from Omni Garage. Please subscribe to the channel to keep the content coming.